What's poppin', y'all? There are current rappers in the game where if somebody says that they don't like them, not just their music, but partially their music for this guy, Whiz Khalifa, but if they have some hating words for them, I just can't trust that person. Because Whiz Khalifa is somebody that we just can't hate on. Like, the guy's just, he's an amazing dude in terms of music. He's never done anybody wrong from what we've seen. He's put on, when I've seen him live, do a live performance, he put on a great show. He was timely. He was engaged with the audience. You could tell, despite the fact that this was probably like his 1,000th or 2,000th time performing some of these songs, See You Again, he still does it like it's the first time he's performing it with enthusiasm. But he revealed some stuff about the industry lately in a podcast, funny enough, with Call Her Daddy, which was this podcast between two girls where they just talk about their dating history, for lack of a better word. It was a little bit more vulgar and explicit than that. I mean, even the title of this podcast episode is It's Not Cute to Cry in a Threesome. So kind of that should tell you exactly what the brand of this podcast is. With that being said, lately, Whiz Khalifa has been doing the rounds. He's been on live streams. He did a song with Blackboy Max. When he was on his live stream, they recorded a music video to it. I think he was with DDG. Don't quote me on that. I'm not stamping that as being true, but he's been around. He's been doing podcasts. He's been in the fight space a little bit, UFC. Granted, he has been working out and doing at least Muay Thai for years now, maybe 5-6 years, perhaps even longer. And funny enough, it's not any of the hip hop related things where he talks about what the industry is like. So I'm going to run you guys this clip, and it's going to give us plenty to talk about because I've got some experience with these things, and it answers a lot of questions that some of the fans or some of you guys might feel like, yo, what happened?
Before. Yeah. And then even like, you know, just being in the industry, it's clear when people are or aren't fucking with you. Yeah. So it's like when they are fucking with you, you're at every party, you're at every show, you're at every this. And then when they're not fucking with you, you're calling and you're like, hey, this party's coming up. And they're like, I know, but you don't have an invite this year. You're like, damn, they really ain't with me, and I didn't do nothing. I didn't change. No, I just maybe didn't put up the numbers that they wanted me to, or they just got more people that they're in line to do things for. So it's like fighting for that position, or just, you know, staying on top of your game creatively. But we do this for attention. We want it to bring attention, and we want to expand our platform, and we want to see it grow. So when there's things that, you know, not necessarily getting away, but even like the algorithms and things like that, they change, they move, and you kind of get flushed out of the system, and you have to go against that. You have to figure out new ways to get attention. Yep. Because that's what you do this shit for. You can't act like you don't want it.
So in this clip, you hear a couple of different things. Mainly is you stop getting, you didn't do anything. This is the biggest one. Artists have pressure to drop hits. And I'll give you an example of somebody that didn't do anything, and we don't really see him anymore. Lil Nas X. When Lil Nas X first came out, and of course, we got to give credit where credit is due, you can't stop putting somebody on or like putting the machine behind him when Old Town Road is doing what it did. So I think arguably the biggest song, I think Sunflower went 2 times diamond now, which is 20 million records just in the USA, just for some perspective there. I think it was the longest lasting #1 on the charts or top 10. It broke a bunch of records. But after that, we found Lil Nas X inescapable. And it wasn't just the music, because he had Industry Baby after that. He had Montero, Call Me By My Name after that. I have to give Lil Nas credit. The guy dropped hit after hit after hit. But how much of the hits being dropped were supported by the label? Because like, it's not enough for it to just be a hit, because once the fire starts, like let's say you kindle the flame, you've got a fire going. If you run out of wood, the hit's just going to fizzle out. And that's what a label does. We're seeing it with Nokia right now. So in the case of Lil Nas X or any artist that's got a hit, they've got to keep putting blocks of wood to keep the fire going. Although the artist did start the fire themselves. Now, when the artist isn't dropping hits anymore, and the expectation is for that artist to drop hits, because I think they put them in buckets. Like, hey, this guy's got to drop a hit. This guy, he drops albums. Like we know, and we're not really too concerned with pushing his singles. Now, if a single does go, we'll put the wood. We'll add some wood, and we'll add some gasoline to the fire as well with radio play and such, like what's going on with Nokia. That one was just a standout song, and then they decided to push it a little bit harder. I do think Drake felt that it was going to be the hit of the album, But there are other songs like Joe Budden, he loves that album. So he talks about how there are other tracks on there that he really enjoys and thinks are potential hits too. But with Whiz Khalifa, he came on with a hit, but he came on during a mixtape. So he was in this hybrid type of role. And I think they just felt like his life cycle, perhaps, ran out, or hey, we're making so much money off of Whiz Khalifa's catalog, it doesn't make sense for us to invest a ton of money into new music, or his celebrity is already so high. Like Wiz Khalifa as a brand, I'm not going to say Snoop Dogg, of course. Snoop Dogg is maybe the most recognizable rapper on the planet. Snoop or Dre or Eminem or even 50. It's crazy. It's like all shady aftermath. I would say Ye and Jay are maybe not even as recognizable as them, just face-wise. Wiz Khalifa from the late 2000s, I would say 2010's generation is one of the most recognizable. And you start to see when they don't show up to appearances. Like he said, he's like, oh yeah, you didn't get invited to this party. This is how you know which rappers are lit and the machine is behind them. You see a rapper doing appearances at the Met Gala, that's how you know they're in on it. And it's not in on it like this secret club where people have these meetings. It's just everyone understands what's going on. The thing is, when you start seeing a rapper at the Met Gala and then they're not at the Met Gala anymore, you got to raise your eyebrow. Like, okay, what happened? Are they on their way out, or is the support for them being dropped? Met Gala is just one instance of this. I think like UFC courtside seats, things like that. A lot of that is manufactured. Like a lot of these guys are not fight fans. They're signed to like William Morris Entertainment, which I think is Endeavor now, or yeah, WME. They're signed to WME or Endeavor, which is like a management team, talent management that puts them together in these places to keep their fame up, which is different from just the music. The record label is handling the distribution of the music. It's these other aspects of the industry that are not necessarily tied to the label, but it's an ecosystem where they all benefit off of each other. So with Wiz Khalifa, I know you guys remember there was a point in time where you're like, yo, what's Wiz doing right now? And you don't think Wiz fell off, but I'll give you another example of somebody where you saw him everywhere and you didn't even know why. And that is Jack Harlow and Lil Durk. So there was a point in time where Lil Durk was inescapable. And I remember it was engraved in my mind. I think I saw an IG post on Academics where they were talking about Lil Durk is working on his jumper. Now, I don't know if this was promotion for the coach that was like helping him work with his jumper. It could have been. But there were other small things about Lil Durk's life that we were getting news of every single day, and it was pushed in our faces. And Lil Durk was also at all of these events. I don't think he was ever at the Met Gala, though. You can't bring the voice of the streets to the Met Gala. Lil Baby is somebody that was going through this as well, where he's showing up at all these events, including the White Party. I feel like, yeah, White Party is another one you don't get an invitation to. You should start looking around like, okay, well, if you do get an invitation, you're pretty damn lit. But if you don't, that's where you got to start looking around like, yo, what's going on? And perhaps that's why Meek Mill still feels like he's lit, because he's in some network where he's allowed to constantly go to these places. And with Jack Harlow, he was at every appearance. Like he was doing, and this is another thing that adds on to appearing at these events or these parties, is doing these cover shoots. So if you're constantly seeing this, oh, this guy's on Rolling Stone, this guy's on Vogue, he just got a Complex cover story when Complex hasn't had a cover in, like 10 years? The print edition ended a very long time ago. Or they're like, oh, High Snob. I don't even know if they still do High Snob covers. I know they still do kind of like digital media stuff. But yeah, Jack Harlow, we kind of saw that cease. And part of the reason we saw that cease is because he was focused on acting and acting in a film. Oh, his team isn't going to say, okay, we're going to keep putting him in all of these things. No, he needs to work on the film. But it feels like he fell off because you're not seeing him as frequently as you did when they wanted you to see him everywhere. And one thing that Wiz Khalifa admits, which is, it's very mature of him too, and I think he felt comfortable to admit it on this platform because he's not going to get judged for it as harshly as a hip-hop platform. He said, hey, look, things change. We need more attention, or we need attention for this career of ours, and we want the attention, maybe not to the degree that some others just want it, and we have to constantly find new ways to reinvent ourselves and generate attention. And this is somebody that's had the experience of being in the early 2010s, late 2000s, where he was dropping mixtapes, and it was a whole different ball game of getting popping, to now 2025, over 15 years later, 15-year career. And Wiz Khalifa is still quite young, and still understanding this, accepting this, and willing to do this without compromising who he is as a person, as a brand, and his own music is a testament that he's a really, really shrewd guy. And he understands the game and he accepts the game. One of the issues that a lot of rappers have when they like quote unquote fall off is they'll blame a bunch of other people. In this case, he didn't put any blame. He just said, hey, you stopped getting calls. I don't even know why. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on what I can control. And he's doing that. Other rappers feel like, hey, I'm not getting enough looks. I'm not getting enough support. I think an instance of that was when Ye's writer, oh man, no way the name is escaping me right now, Sahai the Prince. Oh man, I would have been pissed at myself. More than some commenter would have been, although you wouldn't have known who I was thinking of. Sahai the Prince, No Dope on Sundays, when that was releasing or that was geared to release, he was like on Instagram asking, hey, yo, is there any help that I can get with like getting a label signed to distribute this album, to put it out? And it's unfortunate, although Sahai the Prince is a little bit of a different story because he was a rapper, but he was never had hit songs of his own to experience the stardom and then maybe fall off or trickle off and then come back. Lil Nas X is trying to do that right now. Label clearly does not care what Lil Nas X got going on. And he's been dropping here and there, trying to make stuff shake. And I was going to do a video on him on the main channel, but I don't know. It depends. I might touch on it. I know some people want to celebrate Lil Nas X's downfall. I'm apathetic towards it. I don't feel any type of way. But this is from the horse's mouth. Whiz Khalifa is telling you guys, sometimes you've just run your time. And there are only limited spots at these events, at these cover shoots, at these parties. And sometimes the artist isn't necessarily cold, but there's a newer artist that they want to put more focus on, and they're on a hot streak right now. So it's musical chairs. And they're like, hey man, listen, you didn't do anything wrong. You're hanging in there. But this person's scorching hot, and we've got to spread this forest fire. So we'll maybe see you if you come back with a hit. And that's just the nature of the game. It's cutthroat. It's not for everybody, but that's why the reward is what it is. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. I'm liking the fact that we're hearing more from Whiz Khalifa. Also, credit to Whiz Khalifa. Dude, this kind of sounds like a Whiz Khalifa Glaze session. At least the beginning and the end part. Yeah. I think we gave him enough compliments. I'm not going to add on to another one. I just felt like a little off. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know any other artists that you think this happened to that I didn't mention. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'll see you in the next one. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Go to helloyassine.com. Thank you for watching. Peace.